What's behind adultery? Right? Love, passion, it's lost. Once we first meet someone, it's easy. It's new. You don't know the person, you have your best behavior, everything's great. And habit kicks in. And when the habit kicks in, you have a sense of monotony that kind of keeps repeating itself. And before we even know it, we get into the habit of taking the other person for granted. Why? Because there's no challenges until we actually get the next friction, right? And the other one is need of revenge or anger. That's not gender sensitive, which the next slide is going to be telling you what's male and female. But here is generally speaking, because someone has done something to me, I want to retaliate. Or they've cheated on me, so I'm going to cheat it back. They've done something to me, so I know that's how I can hurt him or her. But what we don't seem to understand, and research has shown, is you only hurt yourself in that process. Because once the act is done, you have a sense of remorse. Now you have to deal with that. And now that's good luck, because you're in a position that you never wanted to be. You're thinking of hurting someone, but in reality, you start hurting yourself. Unfulfilled needs, right? It's not because you're in a relationship that means all your needs are met. It's not to say all your needs are going to be met either, but it's understanding is how communication is important to address what the concerns are. I often say the tough conversation, as hard as they may be, they're necessary, because if you don't deal with it, it's a question of time. It's going to come out in ways and forms that you may not want it to come out, but it's going to come out one way or another. So it's important to understand that if your needs are not fulfilled, you need to address it and communicate that and say, is this something that I really need? Or is this something that I want? And have your partner address that as well too. Commit are in the same page. Often than not, sometimes we're in a relationship, but you're not committed to the relationship, right? Or you're in a relationship, they often say you're on your way out of the relationship. Or simply, you're just simply not on the same page. After a few months, you've been together, or after a few years. And sometimes I've seen a lot of cases, people, married couple that have been together for X amount of time, they were not really happy, they made it for the kids, they get certain point, when you think at 20, 30, 40 years, the person gets divorced because they were never in a relationship, they were never committed to the relationship. There was always a because of. It's not because they wanted to be with the individual. The most critical question you'll ever ask your partner is this. And if you can answer the question, that should be a red flag. Why do you love me? If the person can tell you, I love you because of, or you can answer the question with I love you because of, that means you care about the person. The day you stop having the because or justification, we call those, once they dissipate, the caring's going to dissipate as well too. We also call for the it factor. What is this, that person? It's not because you need to be with the person, you choose to be with the person. So it's important to understand that you necessarily be committed, most importantly, and also in the same page. Sometimes it's self-esteem, because they have a low self-esteem. They need to feel validated through someone else, by being with someone else, or would that be male, would that be female, or ego-driven. Why? That can actually reveal other issues. Alone, emotional, right? You're in a relationship. They often say you're in a relationship, but you're alone in your relationship because you're there, but you're not really there. Those are necessarily the predominant cause, especially the self-esteem one is something that we find is issue that's never been addressed or never been taken care of in the past, which necessarily brings me to the next unsolved past issues, right? That can necessarily address from your childhood or sometimes from parents. I often say unresolved issues, it's going to come back in a way and shape, form in your relationship in ways that you may not even think on a conscious level, or predominantly in a subconscious level. And you don't even see it because one, you're you. Number two is You don't see yourself acting unless someone else can put a spotlight on it. If your partner gives you the feedback, it's never going to be welcome. Why? Because your partner can be necessarily biased. And most importantly, you're not going to take your partner's feedback as objectively as you should, because you may think, oh, he's self-interest driven. Last but sure not least, actually, no, it's not the last one. Just because of sex, right? And this is what I just did, right? Other reasons before, sex is the last reason people will see because of adultery. It's not sex driven. Sex is the last reason they'll do it, right? But most importantly, the main cause of adultery is lack of emotional connection. You're not connected with your partner. And that's a loaded statement. Why? Because it embeds so much when you're talking about connection. Emotional connection. How are you? Are you friends? What sense of camaraderie are you actually having in that relationship? Are you in a relationship because, or is it reason driven? There's so much, but it's really understanding is once you have that connection, quote unquote, we call the it factor, it oversees everything. They often say you'll tolerate more from someone that you care than somebody you don't.